Shalom everyone, and today we're going to discuss Parashat VaYetse. If anybody thought that Parashat Toldot was tough to understand and to bear, so Parashat VaYetse is not different than that. What's first of all the story? We can find Parashat VaYetse in Bereshit, the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 10. VaYetse Yaakov, VaYetse he got out. VaYetse Yaakov מבאר שבע וילך חרנה. So we have a big issue about the name of the parasha, VaYetse, to get out. And we know, everybody knows, we speak about it a lot. And today's teachings of, in anything is about getting out of the box, right? So that's VaYetse Yaakov. And he left Be'er Sheva, Vayelech Haran, and he went to Haran. Why? We end last week's story. We had like a very, very complicated. If you look on the surface of what's going on, we have a complicated, dysfunctional family affairs, and in which the two brothers, Jacob and Esau, they have a fight, and then Esau wants to kill Jacob. And so Jacob is being sent to his uncle, just that his brother won't kill him, and also on the way to find a bride. Okay, so he goes to that place which is called Haran. Haran in Hebrew is a name of a place in Turkish Kurdistan, but it is also, Haran means also anger. Okay, so it's a game of words. Vayifga b'makom, and then it continues, Vayifga b'makom, and he hit a place, the place. What is the place? So the word the place appears many times in the Torah, and every time it appears as the place, not a place, we're talking about the place, which is the center of the world, which is what is called also the Holy of Holies, which means on this place, Abraham bound Isaac. On this place, now we're going to hear about the special dream, famous dream, one of the famous dreams in history of humanity, in the dream in which Jacob sees the ladder, God is standing on top of the ladder, and he sees the angels going up and down the ladder. Okay, where was it? In the place, which we are talking about, the place that later on King David bought from Aravna, the king of the Jebusites, and King Solomon built the temple on that location. Later on, the second temple was built on the same location, and here we have one of the most powerful and sensitive, the most powerful, the most sensitive locations on this planet. Okay? And then the story goes on that he hit the place, that's the word to hit, like you hit a wall, and he slept over there. Why? Because the sun set. And Rashi says, the sun set, Jacob did not mean to sleep over there, but he passed through that location. Why did he hit the place? So the story is that Jacob was doing, Rashi says, it's called a quantum leap. In Hebrew, kfitzat haderech. If anybody saw the movie Dune, kfitzat haderech means, it's the same, the word kfitzat haderech means that chosen one who will do the leap that will take humanity to the next stage. So they're using Frank Herbert in his book Dune, that it's the second time there's a movie out of it. He's naming that person Kfitzat Haderech, as you hear it. It's Hebrew. Okay? Although the movie looks like something about Bedouins, but the word is in Hebrew. In Hebrew, Kfitzat Haderech means a quantum leap, which means Yaakov was in Be'er Sheva, and he planned to leap, to jump through a wormhole to Haran in Turkey. However, somehow the coordinates didn't work, and he finds himself, he hits the place, suddenly the sun sets, and that's what the story is about, right? Suddenly the sun, what means suddenly the sun sets? The sun never sets suddenly. The sun sets always by a very strict schedule, and every day along the year after year, for thousands and thousands of years, the sun sets always in the same time on that day in the year. What does it mean that the sun sets suddenly? Very weird. So he goes to sleep, he takes from the stones of the place, and he puts under his head. And then he rests, he lies down at that place. Okay, but there, we'll see, we'll come back to that from the Zohar. Okay, so he lies over there, and he sleeps, and he has a dream. In the dream, he sees the ladder, that ladder is a subject to so many, especially paintings, art, and stories. And over there, he wakes up, on that ladder, there's God, and he's standing over, and he says, I'm reading chapter 28, verse 13. And he says, I'm God, the Lord of Abraham, your father, and the Lord of Isaac. Haaretz asher ata shochev alea, the land you're sleeping on, I'm giving to you and your offsprings. So God is simply re-enhancing the blessing of Isaac, his father. So if somebody had a doubt about that Jacob continues the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, here God is affirming that thing, and you will burst, okay, to the west, to the east, to the north, and to the south. That's verse 14. ונברכו בך כל משפחות האדמה, and all the families of earth will be blessed with your presence and your offsprings. That is, we see the same blessing that Abraham got. And I'm going to be with you, that's verse 15, and I will guard you wherever you go, and I'll bring you back to this land, because ki lo e'ezavcha, I will never leave you. Okay, till ad asher imasiti et asher dibarti lach, till my promises are going to be fulfilled, like I spoke to you. We learn from that because, history is full of all kinds of prophecies who are trying to say, or philosophies, that God changed his mind and his decision. Looks like he didn't. Jacob wakes up, that's verse 16, and he says, this is the place of God. And how awesome is this place, verse 17. This is nothing but the house of God, and this is Shar Shamayim, the gate of heaven. And on that moment, that place is fixated in the mind of humanity as the gate of heaven, as today we know that billions of people around the world see this place as Jerusalem and the Temple Mount as the gate of heaven. So the story is continuing. I don't want to go to all the details. And Jacob goes to, it's like the plans are being changed, but he finds himself in as I said, the place of what is called the Holy of Holies. The Even Hashtiyah, the drinking stone, the stone from which the whole world is drinking its livelihood. Okay? So, Vayisa Yaakov et raglav, chapter 29, verse 1. So Jacob is raising his legs, and he goes to the land, to Haran, to meet Haran. And he sees a well. And on the well, there's a story about there are many sheep, and the shepherds are there waiting. And he's asking them, my brothers, where are you from? He says, we are from Haran. Do you know Lavan, the son of Nahor? He says, we know. And is he in peace? Yes, his daughter is coming, Rachel. He meets Rachel. There's love of first sight. They kiss each other. Okay, this is written material, right? They kiss each other, and he already wants to marry her. He proposes on the well. Okay? She runs to her father, and he comes to welcome Jacob, but Jacob is not. The story repeats itself like Eliezer and Rivka, okay, from Parashat Chayei Sarah. But there's something weird. Yaakov does not have money. Eliezer came with a lot of money. What happens to his money? So the legend is saying that when he left home, Jacob running away from Esau, the son of Esau meets him on the way. Esau sent him Eliphaz to kill Jacob. He didn't want to wait. He couldn't wait. He sent him to kill him. And then Jacob says to this guy who wanted to kill Jacob, he says, how are you going to justify that, my killing, to your grandfather, Isaac? And the guy said, but my father told me to kill you. So Jacob says, you know what? I'll give you all my money. And he says, Ani chashuv kemet. A poor person is like a dead person. And like you did a job, I'm like I'm dead. I have nothing. When he comes to Haran, he has no present and money to pay for Rachel. Okay, and that explains to us why it goes on that he has to stay there in Haran. He works for his uncle. It looks like his uncle was not such an honest guy. He works 7 years for Rachel, and they get married, and he wakes up in the morning, and this is Leah. So he works 7 more years for Rachel, and then, which means for 14 years, he works only to pay for his 2 wives. Okay? Now the next thing is saying to his father-in-law, now I'm working for you, I want to make my own fortune. And then there's another story. And this story is a story of Lavan trying to cheat Yaakov. And Yaakov, in spite of all of that, he is managing to make a huge fortune till Lavan and his sons are so jealous. How could that happen? He's so successful. Meanwhile, it's not easy. Leah is giving birth 4 times, then she can't. Rachel cannot give birth. The whole story is like a very complicated telenovela, a soap opera, whatever you want to call it. But finally, by the end of the story, Jacob has 11 sons, 1 daughter. Rachel is pregnant again, and he wants to leave Lavan. Lavan doesn't let them go. So they have to run away. They have to trick Lavan, and there's no other way to get out from Lavan. Why? Lavan realizes, and he says that as long as Yaakov lives with him, he makes him rich. Lavan became very rich. Thanks to what? Yaakov, as the prophecy said to Abraham and to Jacob in the dream. Wherever you're going to be, you'll be a blessing to the families of this earth. Now the question is, what's in it for us? So let's go to the Zohar, and there's a lot of stuff I didn't say. You can hear it, at the bottom of this movie or this recording. You're going to find in YouTube. You're going to find the link for the lectures from previous years with different aspects. But I want to just make sure everybody gets the most important aspect for this parasha. We are not reading the book of Genesis for nothing. It's not because we have no other stories to read. There are many, as the Zohar says, there are many beautiful stories all over the world in different cultures and civilizations. Why should we read just the Torah? There's so many other stories. And the answer is, it's not just a story. This is the story of each one of us. And the story is that when the new year has started, and we are just starting again to another journey to fulfill our dreams, our wishes, and our destiny, we need first to reconnect to the 3 major pillars of every person's being and success, which is Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet. The right column, giving, sharing, and loving. The left column, which is judgment, putting the balance, putting the limits, and the desire to receive, the desire to grow, to achieve, and to become greater and bigger. And the first one is being manifested by Abram. Abram puts the ground, the basics, for every human's ability to connect, to tap into that force of chesed, loving kindness. Isaac is awakening in us that power of judgment, gevura, but judgment is not the right word. Gevura means judgment, but it means also the ability to overcome, to put the limits, not to become a robot, to think about, what about me? Okay? But then comes the question, how could I be a person of loving and caring and sharing and all of this generosity and grace, and at the same time I have to be, to take care of myself. And it looks so many times there is kind of discrepancy or contradiction between the two forces. Okay? So Jacob comes to our help to bring us the third state of mind, the third aspect of reality. So, which is the central column. And all of this story of Parashat VaYetse is about to establish within us that force which is called the central column, or as Rabbi Ashlag, the commentator on the Zohar and the founder of the modern movement of studying Kabbalah in our generation, in our era, and as he says, this is how the central column comes to this world through Jacob. And central column means the desire to receive for the sake of sharing, which means you receive when anyone receives, just for oneself alone, this is called the dark side. This is called evil inclination. This is called the body consciousness. Whatever you name it in many traditions and so on. This is the part that creates all the disasters on earth. We're born with it because the evil inclination is part of our consciousness and our life as long as we live on this earth inside a body. Okay, why? Because each one of us has a goal, and our goal is to conquer, overcome, tame, and transform, not eliminate, transform the desire to receive, that we learn more about it. Last week, Parashat Toldot, this is Esav, the desire to receive for oneself alone, which is never good. You always have to trick him because he's running our lives since we are born. Okay, if we are not tricking him, if we are not fighting against him, day by day, we will never be able to achieve the real life goals. And the real life goal is to take the negative and to turn it into positive. Not to eliminate, to turn it. And the only way you can do it is by the consciousness of Yaakov. So, where it says, Vayifga b'makom, Rashi says, he hit the place. One meaning is that he was planning as a sage. He had the ability to hop, to jump, a quantum leap from Beersheba to Haran, without walking through that road. Okay? What does that mean? Why do we have to hear that story? Like, are we going right now to learn how to do that? So we don't need airplanes, visas, passports, and stuff like this? No. There's something much deeper than that and much more important. The word Vayetse means that in order for us to fulfill our mission on earth, every human being must learn how to get out of the box. What does it mean getting out of the box? It's called quantum leap. What does it mean, a quantum leap? Whoever knows a little bit of physics, quantum leap means, in physics, when an electron is on one shell of the atom, he lives by certain rules that are very clear and strict. Energy is coming in, that electron can hop to another layer. But in order to hop to another layer, it can't go from layer 1 to layer 2 gradually. There's no 1.1. There's no 1.5. There's either 1 or 2. In order to get from 1 to 2, you need critical amount of energy. And that's called quantum, a portion. The moment you have enough, you can hop. You don't have enough energy, you still, even if you have 95%, 99% of the amount needed, you will still stay in the lower level. When you have enough, then you have the leap. What's the issue? The rules that apply in level 1 do not apply in level 2. It's totally different rules, like the electron is becoming something else. Yes, it is still an electron, but it's something else. Why is that important for us? Because that's our destiny. A human being comes to this world to hop from one box to another, from one level to another. What does that mean? As human beings, we have two forces. There are many forces, but if you want to generalize all the forces of the story of our life, there are two major forces. There's one force that says, let's preserve, maintain, keep what we've got, and we'll fight with all our might to keep it this way. We want to rest. Like in physics, there's a law that everybody, that's Newton, before quantum, there's Newton laws. If you apply any power on a certain object, he will push you back with the same amount of power you apply on him. Why? Because no one wants to move from where they are already located, right? And that means a chair, a table, the moon, the sun, any heavenly body, and each one of us. Physically, in order to move someone from wherever they are, so even if they're moving fast, you want to move them to another track, you need to invest energy. Okay, same thing, human beings. They are kind like the same, like the moon, like the sun. We are all orbiting a certain place, and we're trying to do our best to preserve wherever we are. What's the problem? We are not an object. We're human beings. We're not even an animal. Animals will do everything possible to preserve their life the same way. And the Torah says, Shor o kesev o ayil kivaled, which means an ox, a sheep, okay, whatever, or goat, ve'ez kivaled, or goat, when they are born, and the commentators are saying, an ox, whatever is born is a calf, is a lamb, okay, is a kid. Why the Torah is saying an ox? Why the Torah is saying a sheep? And the answer is, the way they're born, they'll never change. Animals don't change. You never seen a wolf dreaming to become a lion. A wolf will do everything possible to stay a wolf, right? And a lion will do everything to stay a wolf, and a rabbit will do anything to stay a rabbit. But humans are different. We have what is called surrounding light. Surrounding light is the light that we were created with the potential to reveal being on this earth, to be a blessing to the families of the earth. Every human being comes with that destiny, okay? And the surrounding light means the light that, not as the internal light, which is the light we have, the light that we have because of our efforts till today. Who knows how many lifetimes? The inner light is the light that we achieved by hard work, by transforming ourselves, by turning ourselves from darkness to light, from negative to positive, from bitterness to sweetness. All of that earns what is called inner light. Inner light is the light that is gained by our spiritual work. However, inner light is always having a fight with the surrounding light. The surrounding light is the light that, according to the potential of our vessel, our soul, this light is supposed to be revealed, but we have no idea. What is it? Like, who are we going to become when we grow up and become really great? When we come to our own individual special greatness. Every human being has his own greatness that only him can reveal that greatness, and his greatness or her greatness is what humanity needs to be blessed by our individual greatness. We don't know that. It's not that you can get a printout with your greatness. That's what you're supposed to come. You have to earn that through hard work. The point is that the surrounding light doesn't care that we don't know who we should become. The surrounding light is making sure that we're going to become that person even if we don't know. So what happens? Because most people, as we know in physics, are trying and establishing and putting all their might in preserving what they already have. The surrounding light many times has the nature to destroy our fortifications, insurance, security, walls, fortifications, so we move out and we finally leap to the next level. Now, the problem is that leaping to the next level is illogical. That's why it's called a quantum leap. Why? If it was logical, I would already be there, because I am where my logic allows me to be. Whatever I think, that is what my reality is made of. Okay? So let's say I'll give you an example. It's like a very simple question. You see two people. Both of them are penniless. Both of them have nothing. Maybe just few clothes. Both of them are walking down the street. Maybe both of them are wearing the same rags. Nothing really special. Okay? One of them was like this all his life. And the other one was a millionaire, a billionaire. Okay? And he just lost everything he had. Now, from these two, who has more potential to become a millionaire? And it's very clear. The one who already was a millionaire, he did it, he knows how to do it again. Why? Because usually your mindset is what your worth is. If you think like a millionaire, you'll find the connections, you'll find the ways, because you know it's possible. So even though you are penniless today, if you give that person a time, most of the chances you're going to find yourself making the millions again. But the person that never made millions, maybe he dreams once in a while to make millions, but as I said, most people, they are a direct product of their way of thinking. So, because we have the tendency to preserve what we know, what we have, and we totally against changes. Although we can dream about changes, but that's only from the outside. The inside, we are sticking to our inner light and we are okay with that. And most people are suffering from changes. What happened? Look at Jacob. He lived with his parents. Isaac and Rivka, amazing people. The most amazing people on earth of that time. Living with them is like, who wants to live these kind of parents? Does he live because he wants to? because he tries to? No, he leaves because he was forced by his mother to steal the blessing from his brother. Now his brother wants to murder him, and he has to run for his life. And so, does he go willingly out? No, he's forced out. But let's see what happens. He's forced out. On a way out, things already start to take a place. Look at it. He wants to go to Haran. Why? A, to run away from his Esav. 2, his parents says you have to get married. Okay, it's time to get married. Now, think about it. He wants to get married, so he has to. It's like he has no idea what's going to be there. But he has a kind of an idea. He did not plan that just the moment he got out of home, he got out of the familiarity, of the comfort zone, there are changes, unplanned changes in his journey. He meets the place, the holiest place in the physical universe. He meets that place. He has that dream. He comes out as a changed human being from that dream. The moment we are willing to get out of our comfort zone, even though we were forced into it, what does it mean, a quantum leap? When you leave, you know what you leave, but you have no idea what you're going to find when you get there. Okay? You have no idea, and it's part of the picture. Most people do not leave their comfort zone, although it could be so painful because the surrounding light is pushing till it breaks our reality. Most people don't leave their jobs or their homes to a better place because we're trying to preserve what we've got. So, A, there's a lot of gain. Jacob getting out of home because of the bad guy Esau. He has that dream. He gets that blessing, eternal blessing. More than that, Vayifga b'makom, it says also Vayifga, he created the prayer of Arvit. Now, that fits because Abraham created Shacharit, the morning prayer. Okay, Isaac created Mincha, the afternoon prayer. And now Jacob. So what's the connection? Because getting out of his comfort zone awards him with, he creates those stepping stones that change history forever just because he got out. Yeah, he didn't do it voluntarily, but that's how life is about. The moment we get out of the box, things do not happen by the way we planned. Why? Because the logic that was you in the box cannot be you outside of the box. If you think outside of the box like inside the box, you're still inside the box. Being outside the box means giving up your old logic, which means acquiring higher levels, which means surrounding light comes in and becomes internal light. It must be one of the results that you don't see things the same. Okay? So there must be a leap of logic. Whatever was okay and possible in the box, when you get out of the box, there's a demise. It's like all what I was thinking about, what's right, what's wrong, what's possible, what's not possible, what is capable, what is not capable, it's all changed. And that's not easy. But that's a human being's life. If you don't do those leaps, what are you here for? And since our evil inclination is against change, we do not like change. I want it the way it used to be. And as we said, when you're stuck to the past, avar, Rabbi Ashlag says, the female of avar is avera, transgression, because you're giving away all your life energy to the dark side. Have you noticed all those people that are into nostalgia, the good old days, they're depleted? weak, kind of waiting for their death because, I wanted to stay like this till the end, which means they gave up on the future. They have no future, or so they think. Sometimes, and many times, those disasters that destroy our fortress, our fortifications, our certainty, our whatever a frame of life, they are the biggest blessings. Can you imagine if Jacob stays home? He never meets Rachel and Leah. He never has the dream. He never becomes that prototype of central column that he was supposed to become. And the only way he could become that is by breaking the box and getting out. And getting out, which means, and we'll see what does it mean. So we see how the Zohar describes it. Let's see, like verse 2 in the Zohar commentary of Parashat VaYetse, in Perush HaSulam. ותחזי, קמנסי, שימשה אף על גב דנער לכל עלמא, מטלנוי ביטרן סטרי נינון, כמה דאמר, הולך אל דרום וסובב אל צפון. בגין דדה ימינה ודה שמאלה, ונגד ונפה כל יומם מסתרה למזרח, ועזה לסתרה דדרום, ולבטר לסתרה דצפון ומסתרה דצפון. Okay, it's like we read about the sun coming down, sunset. Okay, the Zohar takes it to another level. And he says, Bowe, come and see the sun. Although the sun is shining to the whole world, the sun is shining to the whole world by traveling. And the traveling is always between two poles. It's going it's from the north to the south and from the east to the west. Okay? And what does it mean? That the sun is kind of bridging between the poles, which is Sfirat Tiferet, and Tiferet, central column, this is Jacob. Okay? And why is it important? Because שכתוב וילך הרע מלמדנו בזה, שההרע מרומזת בכתוב ויצא יעקב, when it says and Jacob got out, it speaks about an illumination. It's a code for illumination. Why? Because a complete illumination, הערה שלמה, a complete illumination, a complete enlightenment for a person must be included of right and left, chesed and gevurah. Who's the chesed? Abraham. Who's the gevurah? Isaac. It's not that Abraham did not know what chesed, gevurah, and tiferet are. Abraham was a prototype, a father, okay? But he established the connection between a human mind and heart with that force that is called chesed, right column. Isaac, also, he knew all the rules. He knew right, left, and central, but he established the connection to gevurah, left column, judgment. Jacob did the hardest of them all. Jacob had to take the chesed and the gevurah and to synthesize them both. That's the hardest. It's very easy when you try to be spiritual and so on, to be a person of kindness and compassion and so on. It's also for some people. For other people, it's very easy to become the people of judgment. These are the limitations, these are the boundaries. You can't just come over here. That's to be both in the same time. That's the hardest, but that's the highest level. So that's Yaakov is he'ara shlema. A complete illumination must be included of chesed and gevurah, loving kindness and distance and putting the limits. We know that very well. That is the guarantee for real, happy, satisfying relationships, either between husband and wife, two friends, partners in a business, parents and children, as long as you don't keep the golden rule of not giving too much and not taking too much, giving your on one hand, share what you've got, but keep your own distance and your own privacy, then you'll become depleted or short-circuited, whatever you call it. You lose your balance and you fall to the darkness. So the gimmick, the most important one, is to know how to balance the two sides, the sunrise and the sunset, the sun to the north and the sun to the south. And that is Jacob. What is VaYetse Yaakov? Jacob is the illumination of completion, right and left. How did that happen? Remember, it came out of pain, sorrow, anguish. He had to leave home. He had to get out of his comfort zone. He wanted to stay there in the nice, easy, comfortable place. No, he had to move on. His brother wants to kill him, and he has to get out. Why didn't he get out before that? And the right and the left are also called Chokhmah, the light of wisdom, which is the essence of light, power, force, energy, and the light of Chasadim, which is the energy that is generating when we get out of ourselves and be there, share and care for others. Why is that important? Because without the light of Chokhmah, wisdom, it's like you have no energy. You have no passion, you have no power, you have no move and drive. Without it, you're nothing. However, people with drive, energy, and power, whatever it doesn't mean, it will lead them to the right place. It can bring them into horrible places. Without the light of Chasadim, loving and kindness. These two forces must be generated both by every human being. That's called central column. The synthesis of this, on one hand, the drive, the enthusiasm, on the other hand, making sure always that if you want to get something, you have to guarantee that somebody else will gain from that too, not just yourself. The desire to receive for the sake of sharing. Technically, or the Chokhmah, if it's by itself, it's like naked electric wires. What will happen? Sooner or later, there will be a disaster. You want those wires to be a blessing, you need to isolate them. You need to put an isolation around them. That's the light of Chasadim, which means you don't want to be burned by the light, the essence of the light of the Creator. You need always to create the isolation, the safety material, which is sharing, giving, and loving. Selfish people, even motivated people, even enthusiastic people, if they don't have grace, love, and kindness, they have basically the nature of self-destruction. They burn themselves down. But if that is synthesized with a real, true commitment for being there for others, with enthusiasm, you generate that power that is called success. What is success? You have a high, and more high, and more high, and it's a build-up. And the more you do, the more you get, and the more you get, you have more to share, and the more you share, you get some more. That is central column. Chokhmah and Chasadim. The essence of energy and loving. Both have to be, and that's basically the dance, the magical dance of success. So, we'll continue because the whole Zohar is just speaking about it. Give you another examples. Verse 12 in the Zohar. Then we spoke about Jacob, that he lies down on that place, on the earth. Of course he lied on there. There was Airbnb. What was there? He didn't go to an inn, right? The place was just on the mountain. When Abraham was there before to bind Isaac, there was nobody around, right? Maybe they built something. No, nothing was built. So he lies down on the ground. But The Zohar says, no, there's a deeper meaning. Vayishkav. Vayishkav means that he lied down. But Vayishkav is Vayesh Kafbet. And they are 22. It's the same. Vayishkav, Vayesh Kafbet. What are the 22? There are 22 gems of the world below that they hold. When you're talking about the Malchut, the vessel, the basics of the vessel is 12. How many months in the year? 12. Okay? How many tribes came out from Jacob? 12. Okay? Now, what's the essence of physical matter? 12 original particles. Okay? The months of the year are divided into 4 groups. 3, 3, 3, 3. The particles are divided also into 4. 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay? And more than that. So there are also 10 Sefirot. So the 12 is Malchut. Malchut means vessel that draws energy. That's a purpose of the vessel. To draw energy, to pull in. That's a vessel. It was created, I am and I desire. Okay? 10 Sefirot. 10 Sefirot is about Chasadim. Because how the Sefirot is being created, when you learn the study of the Sefirot, after the Tzimtzum, the world in the beginning was one light and vessels, but then there was a contraction. The Tzimtzum, the vessels pushed away the light because we wanted to share. What is that sharing? It's called the Masach, the curtain. That is that force instilled in each human being, in each part of the creation. That, how do you see anything? There's light. The light waves hit that object and they're being returned to your eyes. Do we see the light flying from here to here in the room? No, you don't see it. When do you see it? When it hits something, comes back to our eyes. Example, you look to the sky. Let's say you have a clear sky. It's the middle of the night. What do you see? Darkness. What else do you see? Oh, you can see the moon. If there is a moon, you can see the moon. What is the moon showing us? The moon is showing us that the heavens, the space is full of sunlight. But if there's nothing to return it, you won't see it. Okay? When the sunlight hits our atmosphere, the molecules of the air return it, and that's why we see daylight, and it looks supposed to be, in many places, blue. Why? Because that's a frequency of the atmosphere of the air, of the earth. But in Mars, the skies are red because it's a different frequency, because it's different kind of gases in the atmosphere of Mars. Okay? So, what do we see? We see what is called returning light. Returning light. Why? There is a curtain. There is something to reflect. This world is made of reflection. What does it mean? You want to have something, you must desire it, but you need to reflect it. If something does not reflect the light, it doesn't exist. We can see it. Okay? So, these are the Sefirot, and the Sefirot, which are the building blocks of creation, okay, they're made of curtains. What are curtains? Pushing back the light. I don't want it just for myself. If you want to be, you have to give. If you want to exist, you have to share. Whoever doesn't share, it's called a black hole. A black hole cannot be seen because it gets all the light, nothing is given away. Can anyone see a black hole? Does it really exist? No. It just creates disasters around it. Okay? So, you want to be, you have to give. So therefore, the 12 and the 10 give us 22. Vaish Kav, or Kaf Bet. And that means that it's, again, the Zohar says, it is the combination of the light of the Creator, that is totally meaningless unless somebody wanted it and share it to others. Whatever you just took, which means if you are a taker, or there are parts of our lives that we just took, that never stays, it doesn't last. Only a pain. Whatever stays is what we gave, although we wanted to take it for ourselves. The ability to see the act of sharing as an act of giving, so you don't feel depleted and you don't feel like a victim, and you don't feel like you sacrificed. You simply understand that when you share, you also receive. When you receive, you make sure you also share. When you think both, that's called synthesis. That's called being Abram and Isaac on the same moment. That's called Jacob. Being Jacob, that's tough, much harder than Abraham and Isaac. Okay? And that's why this parasha is so important. Let's move on. Let's read something very, very, just to emphasize that. The Zohar of VaYetse, verse 17. VaYetse Yaakov, bekitra destimu, migos itra stima nafka, זו אספקלריה דנהרה, כלילה מתרי גוונים, דמתחדרם כחדה, כיוון דאילן כללו דבדה, התחזון בי כל גוונים, ארגמן איהו. Okay, that's kind more of poetry. Inside the complication, svach, complication, the misunderstood complication. You know, you look at your life, how many times it looks like I am messed up. It's all so complicated. What's the way out? It's supposed to be this way. Why? We'll read. When we are in that complication and nothing makes sense, it means you're on the right track. Because you're getting out of your comfort zone, you're getting out of the box. In order to get out of the box, the first stage is confusion. Why? As long as you're totally certain about what's right and what's wrong, there's no change, there's not going to be any transformation. You are in your comfort zone. You're stuck in the box, you'll give anything just to keep the box. Okay, confusion is the prerequisite to get out of the box. But from that place of confusion and misunderstanding, Yotze Zohar Amara Meira, comes out the illumination, Zohar, the splendor of the shining mirror. Remember what we said? In order for the light to be eternal, it has to be a reflection, which means I want my life to be amazing. I want to gain the most. I was created for that purpose. But I need, as much as I want to receive, I must make a difference and not just be a taker. It has to be together with, so how do I use that light to give, to share, and to bring benefit for others? Right? Love others and you love yourself. That's why it's called the reflection of the mirror. And that means Zohar. Zohar means the reflection. Okay? Returning light. And that is, this mirror is included of two colors. Which colors? White, chesed, and red, gevura. White, loving kindness, because if an object is white, what does it mean? Whatever it gets, it gives. If you shine on that object with all the spectrum of the sun, the color will be white. You shine on it with red or yellow or green, it will be green. White means whatever you get, you give. That's chesed. Red means, red is the lowest frequency of the spectrum. Under red, you have infrared. It's heat. And the symbol of red is what? The lower desires, right? Babies love red. That's their frequency. They're just about themselves, okay? Red is also, the colors of lowest passions and desires. It's in the red. Or red is also a symbol of danger, because you go to that low selfish desires, that's dangerous for you. It's falling into heat and then burn. But when you compose the light of the white and the red, which is its ideas, which means I receive, but in order to share, I'm in compassion, but also don't give up my powers and enthusiasm to become the biggest I can become. Okay? The combination of the two colors is called Argaman. It's a code. What's Argaman? Whoever knows about the codes of how do you call it, of amulets and spiritual teachings, in codes, Argaman is the code of the archangels, the complete system of the archangels. The word Argaman is initials of Uriel, that's Aleph, Reish is Raphael, Gimel is Gabriel, Mem is Michael, Nun is Nuriel. So when you have the composition of the 5 main archangels, you can see it here behind me. You have Argaman behind the hands. That's Argaman. It's not so easy to see, but that's an amulet. In most amulets, you have Argaman. Argaman is the protection of the main 5 archangels: Michael, Chesed, Gabriel, Gevura, Uriel, and Nuriel. It's 2 levels of Tiferet, and Raphael, which is Malchut, when everything comes together. What happens? So Argaman comes out of the synthesis of the 2 lights, the 2 forces. I want to be great, I want to have it all, but it has to be with compassion, giving, service, caring for others. That's central column. This is Jacob. Jacob, look at what he's going through. He gets out. He's being basically driven out of his comfort zone. And he plans to go to Haran. Just he wants to marry a wife. On the way, he meets the highest point of energy. Why? You just make that effort to get out of your comfort zone. Look, immediately you meet God. And Rabbi Yashlag explains why loving others as thyself is the highest place. Because, why not loving God? And Rabbi Yashlag is saying, how can you love somebody you don't know, you cannot see, you can't communicate with? You can talk to God. When was the last time you heard God talking to you? Or maybe it was God, maybe it was not. Okay? How do you meet God? When you get out of yourself. How do you get out of yourself? The easiest way that has a feedback is being there unconditionally for others. When you get out for others, then you find the moment you get out of your comfort zone, you meet God. Yes, there's going to be anger over there. There's going to be upset. There's going to be miscommunication. There's going to be a mess and confusion. Don't worry. If you go with the intention to do the best, God will do the rest. But you have to let go of the comfort zone and to get out with the right intention, to grow, to give, to achieve, to stretch out and to grow. Okay? And that's what it is. And therefore, we see that he goes to Haran, he meets that place. One reward, he gets the blessing. Okay, the eternal blessing, he finds out that special place, which is the Holy of Holies. He sanctifies the place. Okay, gets a promise, the vow, that he will be protected forever. Okay, then he comes to the well. What is the well? Eliezer meets Rivka on the well. Here, Yaakov meets his soulmate on the well. Moses, he meets Zipporah on the well, which means what is the symbol of the well? The well is Malchut, because you draw. Okay, Isaac is digging wells. Okay, and he's successful, and the Philistines envy him. The well is a symbol of, the plenty is being revealed in the middle of the desert. Without the well, you're dead. Mostly around the Middle East, you don't have rivers everywhere. If you don't have a well, you're finished, or a spring. But discovering the idea of the well was important, okay, for human life. Now, the well is a symbol of Sfirat Malchut. When a person is creating the devotion of getting out of his own comfort zone, the symbol is that the water of the well come up, and that means you're becoming lucky. That's called Mayim Nukbin, female water. The water of the well when it's coming up. How it's coming up? Because devotion is also Mesirut Nefesh. Initials man, like Mayim Nukbin, like the manna. It's all the energy of from below to above. Okay? That's part of the central column. Because on one hand, you're devoted with passion. On the other hand, it's full of love. There's passion that is in the red. That passion leaves always to a black, high and by. The passion that is in the central column is the passion that is included with loving and kindness and getting out of your comfort zone. That passion creates a vessel from below and illumination from above. Again, central column. Bliss and good fortune. Jacob meets Rachel. He knows from first sight he has to marry her. What happens? Lavan cheats him. Jacob, the tzaddik, the righteous man, the complete man. How can God allow Lavan to cheat him? Later on we realize that he didn't know, but he had to marry Leah also. 6 of the 12 tribes came from Leah. They were never meant to come from Rachel. Okay? And also, Leah is bringing to her own maid, Rachel, her own maid. If she was not barren, we want to have the children of Bilhah. And then if Leah was not stuck, we don't have the children of Zilpah. We would never have 12 tribes, 12 sons of Jacob. So you see, even righteous people don't have it easy. We're not here to have it easy. We're here to have the devotion, the faith, the thing of every time it's messed up, confusing, just stick to what is called, in here it says, Emunah. Let's continue what we just said about that apples of the 2 colors. And that it says, so in verse 20, it completes this article. Vesof ha'machshava hazo, when you have that thought of one hand is devotion, sacrifice from a good place of excitement, giving out of yourself, getting out of the box, with total faith in the good, that the light is going to reward you because that's a way to connect to the light. The result is that completion. Hisig bazeh, verse 20, et rosh emunah. Jacob achieved by that the head of what is called emunah. What is emunah? On one hand, faith, connection, coming from the word amen. Amen, it's the Zohar says, the aleph is the heavens, the nun is the earth, and the mem, the middle letter, connects between the two. Or amen, numerical value 91. What is 91? Tetragrammaton 26 Youdkevitch. The heavens. Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, that's the earth. Amen is the synthesis, the union, the highest level of a union. The union between the divine and the mortal, between the giving and the receiving, the body and the soul. That's the purpose of our being over here. Only then the surrounding light can manifest. Only then we can become a bliss to the world around us. This is the story. So we see that here, Jacob, the righteous Jacob, he goes through so much. He has to run for his life. His nephew almost kills him. He says, I'm Jacob. I'm such a tzaddik. Why, God, are you treating me like this? He's so confused. He's coming penniless to Lavan, but he has to work. And because he has to work, Lavan cheats him. And he gets 4 wives, 12 children. and he comes out of it with huge fortune, byproducts, because he's not just, he could be upset all the time, says, God, that's how you treat me. I'm out. I resign. Don't want to be Jacob. I want just to be a simple person. I want my comfort zone. I just want to be homey, in a soft covers and so on. Don't go into it. Whenever we find ourselves trying to fight our destiny by holding on to the soft and warmness of what we got used to, don't give the surrounding light the time to destroy it, so you have to be thrown out. So finally, you'll make the quantum leap. And the quantum leap, remember again, is being in a place you've never been before, thinking in a way you never thought before. That's your destination. Okay? You have to that's called reinventing. That's called innovation. When does that happen? When you have emunah. When you know that you have one job only. Not to keep your place, not to keep your job, not to keep, everything the same. No, you have to connect heaven and earth. You have to connect yourself and others. And you have to be there for yourself and be there for others at the same time. And you always have to go through the confusion. And when you bring these lights together, which means, yes, I'm here to give, and I'm here also to grow. When these two lights, the white and the red, meet inside you, it becomes argaman. It's also a color. Argaman, some say it's like above the blue, the highest light, the highest frequency, just before the ultraviolet. Okay? It's the highest level of the aura colors. This is what we're supposed to be. That's the story of Jacob. He's being cheated. He's being pushed around. He's being treated badly, but he always there knowing that everything what happens is just to get him to a place that he doesn't know how it's going to look like, but it's going to be the best for humanity. He comes out with that tribe, just where being in the worst place, Lavan, the cheat, the liar, the magician of the dark arts. And because, and what the Zohar says, all of them, Abraham had to be in that negativity of Ur, and then Haran, and then to be there with Lot, then to go to Egypt, to come out. Every one of us, and our patriarchs, the prototypes, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all had to have that nisayon. This is the month of miracles, and a miracle means that it's not a miracle that everything stays stable and the same. The miracle is that you fall, you find yourself in the confusion and the darkness, and you don't give up. You rise with devotion and excitement. You don't stop being compassionate and loving, and you don't stop believing that there's something bigger waiting for you. And when you do that, you get the protection, Argaman. When you do that, you create the miracle. Nisayon is not a test. It's making a miracle. The miracle is that you find yourself in a place you've never been before. Then you look back and you say, where have I been? How could I even think like this? And that means that we have to welcome the hardship, the falling apart of our lives the way we know it, the falling apart, the demise of the comfort zone, because as long as we do that, we are alive, we are moving on, we create, we innovate, we invent our own self, and there's a reason to live every day all over again. That's the purpose of life. All of them did it. Abraham had to go to those places and get out. Isaac had to go to those places and get out. Jacob had to go to these places and get out. Joseph had to go to these places and get out. So you say, but they were righteous people. They should have a nice, comfortable life in Florida. No, that's not the place. You don't want to lock yourself in that soft place that will become your coffin. Okay, thank you very much, and have a month full of miracles. תודה רבה.